All right. Well, welcome to the office hours for uh, the new Chef Supermarket. This is going to be just kind of a way for people to kind of pop in as they'd like over the next hour or so. We're going to be doing three of these today. Anyway, for those of you that may be watching out there, come and join us. Mr. Timmerman, how's it going?
Good.
And yeah, thank you for all your help on this stuff. It's looking good.
Absolutely.
All right. To be fair, this was a total experiment, and I probably didn't give enough lead time for people to actually schedule this, but we'll see. You deploying HTTP to HTTPS right now, or
Nope.
okay?
I'm getting things prepared though.
It is funny how much of supermarket has been my opportunity to actually learn chef.
Mm-hmm.
Although it's funny because I'm finding that there are a lot of features of Chef that I didn't know about
Mm-hmm.
that are, um, how do I put this? That as a whole, like they make me realize how awesome it actually is. Like when I first looked at Chef, I was like, really, why would I want the knife command? And
Right.
then now that I've used it, it's like, oh my God, how did I live without this thing?
Yep.
Hey guys,
Howdy.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm just here to listen in and maybe ask questions. So don't expect too much from me. But all I want to say, as I said on the list yesterday, awesome job, and it's works exactly how I expected it to.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's been kind of interesting. Just for me, I'm definitely more on the ops side of things. That's my background anyway, and just getting into digging into the code with the developers. Like there are things I was sitting staring at Rails code last night, thinking, okay, I know what I want to do. In concept, it should be pretty easy to do this thing, but I have no idea where to start to do this thing.
Awesome, awesome.
So, but it's been fun to like iterate on the cookbook and get all of the stuff out. Um, have you downloaded Knife Supermarket and played with actually interacting with it via Knife, or just kind of browsed around?
That was actually on my list to do today.
Okay,
Um, I
cool.
have a couple kind of not used cookbooks, but I have that I have pushed up to the community. Um, and so I was going to try to push it out actually to supermarket and see what was see how it works. I just hadn't had a chance yet.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's I think right now for me that's where I'm looking forward to seeing how Supermarket works in general. I'm super excited. Like if you follow the GitHub repo, there's a lot of work being done right now on basically making it a Burke Shelf API endpoint. So if you use Burks, you would just be able to point it at Supermarket, or if you run your own internal Supermarket, point it there.
Oh, cool.
So, and it's fun because I'm watching all the conversations about speed, and having that conversation around, okay, well, let's make sure that we make comments so that the next developer that comes along understands that yes, we are absolutely doing this really horrible thing because it takes the generation time from 2 seconds to like sub half a second type situations.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I hope more people join because I'd be really curious to see what other people are thinking. So,
Me too.
mm, good old IRC watching it scroll by. I sent it out to my company too, the Hangout, to see if anyone else would want to join, because there's some interest in leveraging Supermarket in some places we haven't leveraged it before. We kind of our cookbooks at my company kind of grew organically, so something like Supermarket can give us an opportunity to revisit things that we've written that we know are subpar and try to leverage what the community's given us, or what the community could give us. I'm trying to say.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think that the next big thing for Supermarket that I have on my roadmap is we need to start the conversation of around what makes a good cookbook. And so
Ooh, ooh,
as
I have
I
opinions.
I expect that you will have opinions, and I expect that you will be participating in the conversation. Um, well, it was funny because like you get into, as I've been maintaining some of our community cookbooks, like you jump in and so you've got things like the Yum cookbook and the the MySQL cookbook, which they have full spec coverage, like they're because they've been dealt with recently. And then you've got some of our older cookbooks um, that are either less used or they just haven't gotten a lot of love in recent times, and as a result, they don't the thing because they were either created years ago or one of those types of situations. There's this huge disconnect, and for me, especially as a fairly new chef user, to be frank, it's been interesting to kind of have that conversation. Well, what does make a good chef cookbook? What can we bucket these into maturity levels, if you will, as far as what we expect as far as test coverage goes, and that type of modeling, which I know at least Sean and I want to do internally, publicly, obviously, but do for the ops code cookbooks. But I can see that, or chef cookbooks, we need to actually fix that on the community site. That's shortly on my list after we are 100% live with Supermarket, is to switch over and get the name chef in use instead of ops code. But no, it's an interesting discussion, I think, because there's not a right answer, number one, and number two, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the community values versus what some of us value, and even as part of that, what particular voices in the community value, and how loudly they proclaim their way as being right. So
that's something
fun
the
times.
community will always give you is opinions.
Well, and that's one of the cool things that I've really appreciated about the chef community is, number one, that there are a lot of opinions, and number two, that very few people are like, I am right, damn it, and that is the end of it. It has very much so been, at least in my experience, well, I think you should do it this way, and this is how I'm going to do it, but your way, while I don't prefer it, isn't the end of the world if you do it that way type of situation. And it's really, for me, the nature of chef in general as a framework versus being just a piece of software, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Now, I do have a question. Have you signed an ICLA or a CCLA yet?
Yes, I signed the ICLA almost instantly. I went through the whole process when I updated my little profile. Um, I did see one little issue though. There was no confirmation when I finished it, and the button changed to re-sign the ICCLA again. So I clicked it like 3 times, thinking, "Oh, did I actually do it? Oh, did I actually do it?" So maybe like a little confirmation bar at the top or something could be help for the UI.
Very, very good suggestion. Actually, that was one of the first things. Like I opened it up, we launched it, and then I sent the email out internally, and we got back the response of. So we've had a couple of things that I think that have been interesting about the ICLA CCLA functionality. The ICLA functionality, the biggest thing is once you sign it, it shouldn't take you back to the ICLA again, because honestly, you signed it. I don't want to see this legal document again. I mean, it's like going and signing a contract for the credit card and then them handing you back the the form and saying, "Here, look at it again, because it's awesome." And it's just like that was the worst part of the experience. I don't want to do it again. So no, we're absolutely working on those things. In fact, I should have that issue off the top of my head because we've been discussing it too much. But if you go to,
You gonna throw it in the chat?
yeah, I'm gonna go dig it out. the other thing that's been kind of interesting is we've been like half of this stuff goes on uh, GitHub, and then half of it uh, works as or is on Trello,
Mm.
which has been kind of an interesting discussion. Although, okay, this is perfect. So we've been linking people to the Trello cards where the work is being done. I think what I want to look at in the future for stuff like this is I've seen people have used, and I think it's like if this and that to do it, but they do things where essentially every card on the Trello board maps to a GitHub issue type thing, which would be kind of neat.
Oh. Yeah, I think there's something called Waffle that does kind of the same thing, or something like Waffle.io. A buddy of mine was doing it for a Node.js project or something like that. You might want to look into that too.
Interesting.
Cool.
I'll have to take a look.
I'll totally take a look at this.
And we are definitely would love some feedback. I mean, anytime there's a pull request, we always love it when people jump in and are like, hey, this makes sense, or hey, this doesn't make sense. Because yeah, there's nothing like I think that's what happened is I think that every one of us that was involved with the ICLA, CCLA stuff, because we fundamentally understood the process that was being implemented, it didn't click to a lot of us that, oh, this is not non-optimal off the bat. My fun one that I keep linking people to is the CCLA page. Let me go find it. Also, just saying, Chef is an awesome company in the sense that I don't have to hide our problems. We can be open and honest about them, and it not be the end of the world. I still to this day want to treat Google Apps as its own application. And did it? Oh, there it is. Okay, it's just the way, yay UI. So if you click that link, one of the things that's interesting that we found early on is we had 13 companies and 12 of them were Chef.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So it's really neat because the new system allows us to very easily differentiate and say, yes, you can actually be a member of multiple CCLAs, so you can contribute on behalf of more than one company because that commonly happens. But we didn't really make the UI explicit enough in that regard. So there's a lot of work being done to kind of help push that along.
Here's another suggestion just from a community member here. Maybe like just a TLDR on the site of what a CCLA to someone who knows nothing about this stuff, or did I just miss it? I don't think it was obvious.
No, it's not there. And I don't think a GitHub issue exists for that. I think that is being tracked on one of two Trello cards at the moment. But that's something that's really big that we need to fix. And you actually won't run into this because you've already signed an ICLA. But one of the cool things about the reason we're even making people re-sign is because you associate your GitHub account, which means that if your GitHub account isn't associated, we have a little bot that lets you know, hey, you should go sign the CCLA or the ICLA. The problem is the link that you click on takes you back to the homepage, which is kind of useless right now. So we're working on getting a landing page in place so that when you click it, it goes and says, hey, this is why you should sign a CCLA or an ICLA. Because being a contributor is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And I so should have had someone that was at Texas Linux Fest send me a Chef mug. Although I was half tempted to show up with my Mongo mug because everybody has a Mongo mug.
I was lucky one of my coworkers picked up one of the Chef mugs for me. He's like,
Nice.
JJ, I thought of you here. Here you go. So, well, I thank you for your time. I'm gonna drop out, but thank you so much for the work and keep it up.
Not a problem, man. Thank you very much.
Bye, Joshua.
Bye.
This deleting stuff from my inbox is very weird. Just saying. I now want to go back and watch this video just to see how much my head moves when I'm checking email. Okay, Joshua, I do have to ask. Do you ever find it hard to like context switch from like writing things for like community stuff to like the technical like working on cookbooks type stuff?
Um, no, only because I've been doing it for 5 years. It was hard at first because
Okay, well that's a
I was doing
positive.
a lot of I was doing a lot of editing on the wiki, and then also doing uh, writing cookbook things on in the cookbooks.
It looks like someone else joined us. Um, we're just kind of taking questions as they come in. Nothing, no specific topics. Everything about supermarket is fair game.
I don't have any questions right now. I'm just kind of sitting back and listening.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks. I'm not familiar with supermarkets, so I don't know exactly, what it is, what it does. I'm just kind of trying to listen to other people, what they say about it.
Oh, well, cool. That's actually a hugely awesome question to ask. So, CCLA is, or, gosh, you know where my head is. Supermarket is the replacement for the community site. We're currently in, a soft launch phase, and within the next couple of weeks, we're going to actually switch over and make it the primary site.
Okay.
So if you haven't yet visited supermarket.getchef.com, that's probably a good starting place, and you'll get a chance to see just the new improved UI.
Okay.
And we're heavily iterating on the site right now, so there's an opportunity to kind of play with things. We've open sourced everything, so all of the development's being done in the open. All of the, in fact, the issue tracking even is being done in the open. So not only the GitHub issues, but the development process. So you're welcome to go take a look at our Trello board as far as what's currently on deck for the I can't even talk today, but on deck for deployment and all of that good stuff, or development rather. So, and welcome, Matthew. Any questions for you? Or just
No, just wanted to see what was going on.
sounds good to me.
Hey, I had a question, and this might be out of scope. Do you guys have any good cookbooks for like chat ops or something like that? We use Hubot a lot for deployment.
I don't know of any off the top of my head, but in concept, I wonder what happens if I search for Hubot. Well, there's a Hubot cookbook.
Yep, and it's by Seth Chismore.
It can't be that bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one that we use in prod. So we use Hubot as well.
Okay.
But we have a wrapper that does all of our custom plugin stuff for it. So I think it just wraps that one.
Okay. Do you guys have that code out the way we can look at it, or is that a?
The cookbook, it's on the new community site. It's on Supermarket.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I'll look for it. Thanks.
That's interesting.
What's that?
As an administrator, you can transfer ownership of cookbooks.
Yes, that was done intentionally as a trying to think of the word I'm looking for here. So one of the things that I've been really cognizant of is like there are a lot of actions that we shouldn't do necessarily unless there are very specific reasons. But like there was functionality that I wanted to make sure got built because it's interesting to think about the supermarket from the perspective of not all of the supermarket or not all users of the supermarket will be the one we run in prod. Like people will run it internally as well. So like being able to transfer, like an admin being able to transfer things.
Yep.
We need the ability to do it. The description I keep giving to people is it's kind of like email. Like as an email administrator, you need the ability to go look at anybody's email. As an email administrator, you shouldn't ever go look at anybody's email.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, there was discussion at the community summit, not last year, but the year before, in 2012, about being able to handle transferring the ownership of a cookbook when a maintainer is unresponsive or is otherwise indisposed of and unable to do a thing. Say the cookbook is broken and people want the namespace because that's the cookbook that they're using in all their dependencies and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly, and it's a fine line, and to be frank, in a lot of ways, I intentionally made sure that functionality was there as a catalyst for we need to get together probably at the community summit this year and discuss what really is Chef's role in that and what does the governance actually look like. I hate the term governance, but I guess that's the appropriate thing here because there's just so much to it. I am curious, and once again, there's not many people out there yet that have admin. So,
right.
Like, okay, so first off, one of the user experiences we need to improve is that effectively the only way to have the initial admin become the initial admin is to fire up the Rails console.
Interesting.
So there's actually a card on the Trello board to create some rake tasks that once you have a few users in the system, that you go push the button or you run a rake task to make them admin. And then once you're an admin, you can go find a user and click it. But it's been kind of neat just from a development versus admin side of things or development versus ops thing of having the discussion around, well, do we have an admin console where you go to this admin thingy, or do we inline the admin functions with the stuff as you deal with it? And the general feeling, at least the last couple of things that we've run into where it made sense to have administrative privileges, was just have it in line with things. And I'm kind of liking that. I haven't quite decided where I fall on that, but it's going to be an interesting experiment, at least for me at least for me coming from my background, to have the admin functions in line versus some like admin panel that you go off to somewhere. I didn't notice it until I think Julian pointed it out, that on the larger displays, the supermarket looks gigantic.
That Web 3.0 design, right?
Exactly.
It's especially funny to me because I increased my minimum font size because old.
I know I'm going to get there eventually, so I won't poke fun because
Hehehe.
it's coming. Although, best decision I ever made, getting LASIK. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a little early. Thanks for joining us for office hours today. Hopefully, those that have joined us will enjoy playing with the new supermarket. Thank you very much.